Hello, friends. Welcome to the very first quarterly review of 2025. I cannot believe I'm saying that. It has been an interesting past few months, and I don't like to say that time was just a blur, but it definitely was this time around because as you may know from many of my videos on the channel this year, it has been a very intensive past few months, a very intensive Q1, but I'm really excited to jump into it and share all of the things that has happened and just do our quarterly review together. If you've seen any of these videos before, you know that I like to be pretty casual with them and kind of do it vlog style, but I will just say at the top of the video that I have already done my quarterly review at this given moment, so we're not actually doing it in real time together this time around, simply because, like I said, it has been an intense past few months. So I'm just gonna take you through the process, like I tend to do, like the structure of it all. And the way that I start these videos off is sharing some tips for quarterly reviews. So the first and foremost thing that we should talk about is what are quarterly reviews? So if you haven't seen any of my videos in the past, a quarterly review, or at least the way that I like to define it on this channel and through these videos, is essentially a review of your personal goals that you have set for yourself for the year every few months, every 3 months to be exact. So we are at the end of the third month of the year. So we're doing our first quarterly review. And when I say we're doing a review of our personal goals, I mean we're really looking at our 2025 goals. We're assessing our successes, we're assessing our setbacks, we're looking at lessons learned, and we're just holding ourselves accountable for our personal goals. And I say that with emphasis on personal goals because we're not talking about work related things here, even though quarterly reviews are usually associated with work. We're talking about goals for ourselves, goals for our slow living journey, and mostly joy, because I think that's something that we tend to forget to hold ourselves accountable for or actually measure throughout the year. That ends up being the main reason why we forget to prioritize ourselves and our personal joys. So, this is just a very type A approach to being on top of our self development and our personal joys. So that's what we're doing. That is what quarterly reviews are, at least in the sense and in the context of this video. Now, some quick tips before you start your quarterly review. Tip number one, set a vibe. I like to associate a positive experience with my quarterly reviews. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want to be afraid or nervous or anxious whenever a quarterly review comes up. I want to be excited. I want to look forward to it. I want it to be a very positive experience. So you can set a vibe in whichever way it works for you. For me, what I like to do is set aside a good few hours on a Friday morning. So if the quarterly review lands on the last Friday of the week, that's what I tend to do. And I will dedicate some time in the morning because I love a slow morning. I will make myself a really yummy cup of coffee, maybe make a flavored one, like make it an extra treat of it, and then put on a feel good playlist and just jump into all of the things. I don't know, for me, that just sets the whole situation up for a positive experience. The next tip is to remember why wins are important, and no matter the size of your win, by the way, is important. We need to be celebrating every effort that we take towards our self development and our personal joys. And celebrating that is going to, again, encourage you to continue doing all of the things that you do to make efforts towards your personal goals. So, we need to celebrate all of our wins, even if they're tiny wins, even if they're partial wins, even if you didn't complete something 100%, but you completed it like 20%, we should still celebrate. So please remember to celebrate after watching this video, even. Celebrate after you do your review, because the fact that you're putting in the effort is a win. The third tip is to remember why setbacks are important. Now, let's just acknowledge that setbacks are inevitable. We are not perfect. No one is perfect. And so our quarterly reviews are not going to be perfect. So just know you're going to have some setbacks. You're not going to complete something 100% that you may thought you were going to do, and that is okay. Setbacks are basically just repackaged lessons, and we learn a lot from lessons. So setbacks are just a way for us to understand a bit more about ourselves, understand a bit more about the complications or the roadblocks that are ahead of us, and it also allows us to kind of navigate it, troubleshoot it, and figure out what to do moving forward. That's really, really important. It's probably even more important than acknowledging our wins. And then finally, like I said, when I said to celebrate your wins, celebrate regardless. So again, after watching this video, just celebrate the fact that you are putting in an effort to your personal development and joy. It's really, really important that you do that, because if nobody else is going to do it around you, and I wouldn't even rely on anybody else around you doing that for you, you should do it for yourself. You are in control of your life, and this is just one area of doing that. And so the more and more that you show up for yourself, the more and more you should acknowledge and celebrate that. So don't forget to celebrate all the wins. I am celebrating with you, of course. And those are all of my tips. So let's jump into my quarterly review. We'll talk about all the things that I did this past quarter. Okay, friends. So I have my journal. I have done my quarterly review. I'm sitting on my comfy little swivel chair here, all cross-legged. So we're getting comfy and we're jumping into my quarterly review. Again, starting with my journal. I'll also share a little Notion tour so that I can do cleanup. I have quite a bit to clean up for Q2, so I will take you into that as well. But let's open up my journal. And if you're curious about my journal, I talk about this in every single one of like my quarterly review videos or my monthly reset videos. This is my journal, and my journal for 2025 is the Paper Republic journal. So the Paper Republic part is just like the outside, like the outside cover, and it's this leather piece right here, but then when you open it up, you can insert a bunch of other journals. You can put whatever journals you want, whatever fits in there. But my planner for 2025 is also from Paper Republic, so that's this right here. So I'm just gonna open it up. Actually, I'm not gonna open up to my planner. I'm gonna open up to this journal section in the back. That's where I did my quarterly review. This is not from Paper Republic. This is from McNally Jackson. And I just found one that fit in the insert really well, so there's that. But what I like to do when I'm doing my quarterly review is answer a bunch of prompts, and I'll go through those prompts with you right now. And how I answer these prompts is just a combination of checking my calendar, checking my Google Keep, and also checking the planner like I showed in the front to remember all of the things that I have worked on. It's just a really great way of actually utilizing the calendar and your planner and all of that type of stuff to remember what you've worked on. I think a lot of us kind of use our planner as like, okay, this is what we do on a week to week, but in terms of reflection, it is also a really great tool. So Q1 review, have it all written here. So the first prompt is our word for Q1, and my word for Q1 is transformative. I think that's a really, really good word for me personally. If you've been following along all the videos on my channel for the past few months, you will know that I got laid off and I announced my brand new art business, and then I got another job. So there's just a lot going on, and it has been transformative in the sense of a lot of mental inner work that I've been doing, and it has been incredible in a huge, huge way. So transformative is definitely the word for me. The second prompt I have is wins for Q1. And so I just list out a bunch of things that I consider a win. Again, going through all of my documents and stuff to remember all of the things that I've done and things that I want to acknowledge as a win. The first is starting the Artist's Way. That is a restart, actually, and I'm really happy that I restarted it because it was incredible this time around. I also I announced my art business, Sunday Paper House, which I talk a lot about in my Slowing Down with Art series. So if you want to know more about that, you can watch that series on my YouTube channel. I got a job. I started the year without a job, and I started the quarter without a job, and I'm ending the quarter with a job. So that's very, very exciting stuff. I implemented a new morning routine, and that was an unemployed morning routine, which I thought was really effective for me as an unemployed person. Now I need to shift it again because I am an employed person again, and my schedule is quite different than what it was when I was working my other 9 to 5. So there's a new slow morning routine video to come very soon. Also consistently posted on my socials. It really helped the fact that I was unemployed, so I had a lot more time to post a lot of stuff on social, and I really took advantage of that, so I was happy about that. And then the last one that I have is that I did a lot of art. I did art almost every single week, if not exactly every single week out of the year so far. So really proud about that. It was never a priority for me back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I just mean like 6 months ago. So this has been a huge improvement, and I have nothing but joy to associate with that. Okay, now the next prompt is setbacks, and I only have one setback, and it's gonna sound funny because it was also part of my wins, and that setback is getting a new job. And the only reason why I put that as a setback is because I have been on a really, really firm creative journey the past few months with the artist's way, the art business, and just healing my inner creative. And so getting a job that's very structured kind of puts a dent in that a little bit. It kind of shifts things, and I have to reprioritize things to give a piece of myself to this job. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but that's just a little kind of caveat in my creative journey that I'm on right now, which again, I talk more about in my Slowing Down with Art series. So it's kind of a setback, but it's not really. But I just wanted to put something there because that's the only thing that I actually have written down as a setback. And so I have quite a bit of lessons learned, and I hope you're listening to this piece, if not like anything else that I talk about, because these were some really important lessons learned for me. But the first one is that I'm an artist. I have never really fully felt that way my entire life, even though I have been an artist my entire life. So being able to say that out loud to other people, in conversation, to myself, is huge, and that is a lesson learned. Like, me learning that I am an artist is a big one. So that's my first lesson. The next one is that I need to identify when anxieties and fear get in the way of what I really want in life. I think just pinpointing anxiety in general is something so powerful, because we tend to let anxiety just fester in us, and anxiety is honestly just fear. And so whenever I'm able to pinpoint that, identify that, and kind of erase it just by, it feels like it dissolves as soon as I acknowledge the fact that I'm dealing with anxiety. It kind of dissipates. So that is just something that I need to continuously work on. Whenever I'm feeling a bit of anxiety coming in, I need to be able to know that, identify that, so that I can help dissipate it. Okay, the next lesson, and I think that is the last lesson that I have, is that discipline and self-love is the cure to anxiety or fear. I feel like just pushing forward whenever I have anxieties, a lot of the times I will just kind of do a U-turn and drop everything that I thought that I was really confident in, and just, hide in the corner and forget everything, just drop everything that I was working on. And so being disciplined, being able to be like, no, let's keep going, and also showing myself love in the same process is going to help me move forward, move past the anxieties, and really just succeed in all of the things that I've otherwise just kind of pushed to the side because I've let anxiety win in the past. The next prompt is moving forward wants. I have a few here. The first is more art. Just want to continuously do art, more, more, more. The next thing is getting a little bit more realigned after getting my new job. Like I mentioned, it's technically a setback, but not really, but it is, because I have to now adjust things and shift things to fit in my priorities as an employed person, as well as my priorities with my inner creative healing and my artistic journey. So I just need to figure that out, and that's something I'm really going to be focusing in the very early part of Q2. And then the last thing is just to incorporate more hobbies and more play time. That is something that I took the word play from the artist's way, because play can really be anything. And I also put hobbies in that equation because I think hobbies and play can kind of go hand in hand. So I just want to incorporate more of that because right now my life is super structured because I need to do that in order to prioritize all of the things going on right now. But I also need to add in the piece of play because that will help fuel my creativity in the long run, and it will also help with burnout given the fact that I'm so busy. So three really big things that I want for Q2, and I'm confident in it, at least right now. And then the last prompt for my Q1 review is the rating I have for Q1. I rate out of 10, and I gave myself an 8.5 out of 10, which I'm really happy about. Most of that number comes from just a feeling, just a vibe, just from all of the lessons that I've learned in just a short period of time. Really feel like I've gone through quite a journey in just 3 months, so that's where I got that number from. And just for context, if you didn't see my last quarterly review, which was my Q4 review of 2024, I gave myself a 3 out of 10. So big changes in the positive, and I'm so happy about it. I would love to know what you have for your answers for these prompts. If you're comfy sharing, or if you just want to share your rating in the comments, please do let me know. But we are going to move over to Notion and do a little bit of clean up, and then we'll end things off there. Okay, friends, so this is my Notion, and I think the most cleanup that we're going to be doing in today's video is in this section over here. Obviously, it's called the 2025 Q1 Master To-Do List. So this is a compilation of random things that come up when I'm doing a quarterly review, just like bits and pieces that I don't want to forget, but I also don't have a specific place for it. I just created this place, and so I guess this is the specific place for it. I think it's really nice to have it right on the top of my Notion so that I don't forget these random things. I feel like random things is, we tend to forget them. So having it front and center is really helpful for me. And just to let you know, I already did my quarterly review and I already kind of thought of those random things and I copied it. So I'm just going to hit paste on there right now. And I will talk about them more in a second, but let's just do some cleanup up here. First of all, let's change this to Q2 master list. And then all of these things that I checked off means that I completed it, so I can just go ahead and erase all of these. And I would say that is 80-90% of everything that I wanted to do, so I'm really happy about that. Also, I should just erase this because I did end up completing this. I kept it active with that little pending highlight there. That's kind of like the code that I've been using to ensure that I do it every single month of the quarter. It didn't have like a one-time check off and then it was done, but I did do it every single month, so I'm just gonna cross that out. So that leaves just 2 things here, and you know what, I did do 1 YouTube live, so that's also something I can check off. So that's 99%. I don't do math really well, but that's majority of my Q1 master to-do list complete, except for living room decor. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to carry it over to Q2, and that's just me trying to figure out how I'm going to add more decor to the living room. I have some ideas for like a credenza by my entryway and just some other things. You'll hear about it soon. But anyway, I'm going to keep that there. And then these are the things that I'm adding in just at first thought. I need to improve my YouTube watch hours, so that's just something I need to keep note of there. I want to post some more annotated photos on Instagram. I feel like I've been posting a lot of videos, which is great because Instagram prioritizes that these days, but I want to go back to posting a lot more photos as well. So that's something there. For Threads, TikTok, and Substack, I wrote down hangout time because I just want to spend more time on the platform and hang out, literally, just like engage and talk to people that are in the space so that I can, connect with people in those spaces. I really like those spaces. And then the last thing is Patreon, just promoting it more because I think a lot of people don't realize that I have a Patreon where I share 2 phone wallpapers every single month, and like the whole catalog is in there as well. So just put those things in there. Again, that was based off of my Q1 review where I found those things through all of the boring Q1 things that I didn't mention in this video, which is me going into my Slow Morning Diaries hub and clicking through all of these respective platforms and just, doing boring analytic stuff. So that's kind of where I've got this mini list, and I'm sure I will add more to this list, more fun things, more interesting things to this list, but for now that's what I have. And I'm not going to change any of the photos or the colors or anything like that because we are still in spring. We just entered spring, and I think things look very nice and springy. And I don't have anything to change in here either. I just showed you the Slow Morning Diaries hub. Sunday Paper House is the hub for my art business. The Creative Hub I haven't really been using, but I'm keeping it there just in case I do need it. And yeah, I really haven't updated anything else here. So this is actually a really quick Notion tour, but I hope it was interesting. Okay, friends, I hope you liked this video. I know it wasn't as vloggy as I like to do these videos, but again, be patient with me as I kind of navigate this whole new lifestyle that I'm going into, working a 9 to 5, which by the way is hybrid. So I am commuting a bit and also starting a brand new business and also trying to upkeep all of the content that I try to post every single week. So I hope you don't mind, but I did have such a great time hanging out with you in today's video. And again, I would love to hear about your Q1s, how things went, what can I celebrate with you, and what can we kind of look at and find lessons from Q1 as well. But thanks again, and I will talk to you in the next video.